Good morning, folks.
Good morning.
How you guys doing this morning?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Morning, Fred. I'm going to give it about 5 to 10 minutes or so. Get the opportunity for other folks to join. Linda, is this your first time on here, or you've been on here before? Can you guys hear me? Check 1, 2.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I said I just joined today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just registered yesterday to get into the group.
Got
Um, yeah, a
Well,
little difficulty passing the exam, so just hoping to get
mhm.
more good time. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for joining.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Fred, can you hear us or not? Probably not. Let's see, we've got another. Tom. Tom, is that?
Yes,
Yeah. Thanks for joining.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you. Thanks for joining, sir. Is this your first time to the group?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks for joining. We're going to give it a few more minutes, about 5 or 10 minutes or so for other folks to join, and then we're going to kick it off.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, Fred. Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, it was my microphone.
No problem. Thanks for joining. So just as we're waiting, how did you guys find out about the group? Or do
Okay. Um,
I found out through IC Square.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tom.
I'm not sure. I think it was with Google or with LinkedIn, or not sure. I'm on this school group, and there I saw this calendar saying that there is also a meeting once a week in my for my time zone. The other ones are in the middle of the night, so.
Yeah, got you. Okay. So you're part of the school group already.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Linda? Did you? Sure. All right. Fred. I'm sorry, Tom. What area are you in, if you don't mind? Like what? You don't have to give the exact location, but just trying to get an idea of where.
Oh, Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. Oh, okay. Cool. Well,
And I already posted my the town I'm in is Enschede, and I already posted a message a week ago that there was a power out in the hospital. So I make the link to the study material.
Oh, okay. That's good.
I see a lot of links in the real world with the study material.
Yeah.
That's nice to see.
Yeah. I think our the person that runs this group, Benson, I think he posts like questions like on the group to keep people engaged and, you know, up to date with the study material. So,
Yeah, he does.
yeah. Fred, what about you? What area are you in?
Colorado.
Oh, okay. You're here in the U.S. Cool. And I'm here in Georgia. What about you, Linda?
I'm in Maryland.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as Tom alluded to, if you don't know, we offer 2 sessions per week. One in this time frame in the AM, and another one on Tuesdays in the evening. So it's 7. What time? Yeah, it's at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesdays, and 9:30 a.m. Eastern time on Thursdays. So, and just so you guys know, we probably won't have this class until the beginning of the year. This might be the last class until the, you know, because of the holidays. So, the Christmas and New Year holidays coming up. So, of course, I don't have to tell you guys to, you know, it's up to you, you know, just dedicate your time spending with your family, or have some study time in between, or take a break, however you see best fit for you to move forward. So, all right, let's see here. So my background, just so you guys know, I've been in IT in one form or fashion for over 20 years. You know, started out like most people in help desk environment, and started doing network administration, and spent the bulk of my time in working for a telecommunications company, upgrading the networks from 2G to 3G to 4G to 5G generation systems. Yeah, I know, right? I started back in ATM days, so you know that should tell you.
Yeah.
So yeah, heavy in that area. Have a heavy background in voice and data. I'm not highly specialized in quote unquote security. Of course, as you guys know, in this field, you're going to touch different areas, not necessarily specialized, but I have some security background, but I don't specialize in it. But I, you know, I did pass the CISSP, and I'm trying to more specialize in the security area, more so now. So, yeah, a lot of in-betweens, touching a lot of different areas in the IT space. So, just kind of helping out, filling in. I believe we have a young lady that leads the class. I haven't seen her in some time, but I've been filling in. And so if you guys see someone else come on at some point, don't be surprised. So,
Okay.
you guys want to give a little background on yourself, a bit quick spiel?
Sure. I can start.
Yeah, go ahead. Lynn.
So I'm also my background is more cyber vulnerability remediation. I'm doing most of the stack operations work. I've been in IT almost 15. I've started the same from, you know, customer service, helping people help desk, helping people fix their computer, until doing mortgage applications support, like more mortgage system support
Okay.
for a couple years. And I started doing cyber, I think my 5th year. So I've been doing cyber since. So I have multiple certification, but this CISSP is just a best to my life. So I'm trying to come together and see where I can get helper. But so far, I've been IT for 15 years. Thank you.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. Good to hear. Now, when you say cyber, can you elaborate on that a little bit? What specifically in cyber?
I do cyber support for SOC. So mostly all the CSPs, we support that for our customers.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. So basically, I'm doing police. I'm more like the police for other companies to just make sure they are patching, they have the right um, intrusion detection on their machines and all
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yes.
Kind of like
Mhm.
auditing, maybe, or
All the thing, but it's more cyber. I oversee like making sure the system breaking into our domain is being managed by our tools. So
okay.
yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Hmm.
Thank you. And it's funny you mentioned the certificates. Yeah, my background is, I have a couple Cisco certificates from back in the day, but I'm not sure if any of you remember Novell. That's how
Yes.
far.
Novell, yeah, I use Novell. Yeah,
That's
banking
how.
system,
That's how
we
far I go
use
back.
Novell. Hmm. Oh
Group wise.
wow, wow,
Yeah,
that's a
I'm
long
sorry.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how far I go back. So Novell. All right, Tom. Thank you, Linda. Tom, you want to
no
give us
problem.
a quick spiel?
My background almost 30 years in the IT, and I
Wow.
started with Hetronics. Not sure if it's a familiar company in the States, but
Mm-hmm.
and I worked there for a few years as field engineer, and I continued within Hetronics to go to the business continuity department of the company, and it was a so-called warm site. I'm
Okay.
just learning now in the CISSP training that was a warm site we have.
Mm-hmm.
And we had every week we had government coming over to do a parallel test or a full failover test.
Oh, wow. Cool.
I did that for a few years, and then I went to another company in the town where I'm living now, and there I'm almost 22 years there.
Wow.
And during that time, we started with 6 people, and we ended up with 250. And now we're shaking down to 150, so I have to leave this company
Oh, sorry to hear
without any certifications and no good clue what to do next. So I was oriented
Mm-hmm.
for what kind of certifications I would like to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And I came across for CISSP, and I was like, well,
Mm-hmm.
that looks doable.
Oh.
Yeah, I was always fascinated by security-related issues like war driving and war
Mm-hmm.
dialing, and
Yeah.
also from 2009 till now, every 4 years there are big hacker conferences in Europe, the CCC, Computer
Right.
Chaos Club. Not sure if
Mm-hmm.
you know it.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I attended those seminars as well. And the last few years at the company where I have to leave, I was working with privileged identity management and laying out the security for our developers and trying to do my best for security. But reading about it was like child play what we're doing. But it was no documented and no structure for it, no risk framework or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think my next job will be like something to do, inform other companies to help them to get certified or the first
Mm-hmm.
steps for security.
Okay.
Visit companies again. I would like to do that.
Cool. So you'll be, this is a joke, by the way. So you'll be on the good side. You'll be a white hat, not a black hat, correct?
Yeah, white hat. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I also in my personal life, I think in 2014 I started to address privacy issues with companies.
Mm-hmm.
So when I've got 2 sons and they want to play football, so I went to this sport club, and they wanted to know where we live, and wanted the birthdays, and we wanted. He just wants to play football. It's next door.
Right.
So why does this information have to go to Amsterdam in a central database for the big UEFA and FIFA? No fucking way that their info is going to land in their database. Why?
Yeah.
So and then suddenly I came across a nice word which you have to use for when you're famous and a celebrity. Yeah, you just say I want a pseudonym because my son is a celebrity, and then you get a different entry in this database of UEFA. Okay. So a lot of companies I try to address to don't collect that much privacy data.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because here in the U.S. as well, it seems like they want your information for any little thing. You know, even when you're installing apps and things of that nature. I mean, it's so overwhelming. It's almost they want people to get numb to it, to just keep giving information freely. I think you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in Europe, you guys have more stringent things as far as when it comes to privacy. I think it's a little bit more lenient here in the U.S., but I think you guys have a little bit more strict guidelines as far as collecting on privacy stuff. So, yeah, cool, man. Good deal.
Yeah, if you follow WikiLeaks and Julius Assange. All those milestones in the past decades. Yeah, there's a lot to learn. And my surname is quite unique. If your surname is just John Doe, then you can accept everything. But if your surname is quite unique, then
they could single you out. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thanks, Tom. Fred, you want to give us a quick spiel, sir, before we start?
Wow, I won't be that detailed, but yeah, I've been in the computer world for seems like forever, doing everything from web design to system administrative work in the past, and a little bit of engineering, aerospace engineering over the years, and
Cool.
in the past few years doing some cybersecurity. And I have my Security Plus certificate at this time.
Okay.
And would like to eventually pass this CISSP. It's been tough to do.
Yeah, it is. And well, let me rephrase that. It was tough for me. I don't want to impose my thing a bit. I like to give my experience to people. When I took it, like I said, I have, close to 20 years experience in in IT and networking. One thing I will say, I didn't go in there arrogant, but I didn't go in there like someone off the street either. I have some experience, so I figured I can, call on that experience during the exam. This exam is not built like that. It was a humbling experience for me. I took the exam 3 times. Luckily, passed on the 3rd time. Even with my quote unquote wealth of experience. And I will say this exam is not as technical as, say, a Cisco certification. It's coming from more of a high level managerial type. It does have technical questions in there, but it goes more high level and more broad. It's, covering things on how you would be like a third party contractor or consultant coming in to help a company. So you kind of have to think in that mindset versus being a engineer. I would say so. First exam I went in, I studied, and and went in there thinking I was ready, and I got caught like deer in the headlights. I was stuck on the first question for like 10 minutes. The first question, I'm not gonna lie, because it was a long scenario-based question, and I was trying to decipher what they were trying to get at. So that was just my experience. And so yeah, I'm just gonna say, do a lot of practice exams, get used to the questioning and trying to decipher and filter down what it is truly that they're asking. And another thing about this exam is that not only one answer is correct. I'm pretty sure you guys heard this. You have to choose the most correct answer. So if you see an answer and you're like, oh, that's correct, let me choose that one. No, you have to decipher which one is the most correct. Okay. So anyway,
No.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, no absolutes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, thanks, Fred. Thanks for giving your background. So I'm going to post questions. I'm going to post it in the chat. I'm going to give about 60 seconds per question, and then we're going to discuss and elaborate. I'll suggest in the groups when I conduct the training class that they make notes of the domain and areas that they're weak in and kind of go forward like that and focus on those areas when you're studying. So, all right, without further delay, I'm going to go ahead and kick this off with the first question. Let's see.
I've got one question.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Is it common that nobody uses his webcam?
No, some people do. To be honest, I'm not that good looking, so. But no, sometimes I'll start trying to do the video thing as well. But you don't have to.
Okay.
You don't have to. But yeah, some people do.
It depends on the call and who's in there. Yeah.
Yes. Some people do. Plus, we only have 3 people on here. Usually, when it's more people attending, some people have their camera on, and some people don't. So
Okay.
all right. So I'm going to kick off the first question. I'm going to post it in the chat. I'm going to give about 60 seconds per question, and then we're going to answer and discuss in detail why you chose those answers, and then we're going to get the correct answers. All right, first question coming your way. All right, so the first question states, what is the best way to provide accountability for the use of identities? A, logging, B, authorization, C, digital signatures, or D, type 1 authentication?
I don't see the chat.
Yeah, it's coming your way there. All right, 60 seconds on the clock, then we're going to discuss.
Ooh. Yeah, I see it.
Is there more than one answer?
No, I don't think.
No. If there's more than one answer, it'll state that in the question. This particular question, it's only going to be one of them.
Okay, thanks.
Do we type it or do we say it?
You can type it in, and then we'll wait for the 60-second timer. Then we'll discuss each person's answer and the correct answer.
I don't see a timer. Oh, okay.
All right. Linda, you want to pose your answer? We're not gonna chop
I
your
didn't
ears
put
off
mine in.
if you're wrong. I'm sorry, say again.
No, I said I did not put my answer. Sorry.
Oh, okay, no problem. All right, so
Thank you.
we're going to go ahead and, okay, so I'm going to read the question again. What is the best way to provide accountability for the use of identities? Okay, so Fred answered D. Linda also answered D, and Tom answered type 1. Okay, Tom, you want to elaborate on, and I'm not singling you out. The reason why I do this is so that, you know, people can hear why you chose it. If it's correct, great. If it's not, you can kind of make a note and maybe focus on that area for your further studies. So this is not singling anyone out or trying to
No, just help each
feel
other.
bad. So, yeah, you want to, Tom, elaborate on why you chose D?
Yeah, it says, what's the best way to provide accountability for the use of identities? If a subject claims to be an identity, it only can claim it when it does an authentication. So it has to do something with authentication. And if I look at the options A, B, and C, I'm not sure, but A and B are nothing to do with authentication. And D, it says authentication. And I read something about it. Type 1s are passwords, type 2 are something you have, and type 3 is something you are.
Okay,
So it makes sense.
gotcha. Fred, do you want to elaborate on that as well, or?
I was going with the what is that? Eliminating the ones that
Process of elimination.
process of elimination.
Mhm.
The D sounded most likely because
Mhm.
you want logging and you want authorization.
Mhm.
But that was only a part of the answer. So
Gotcha.
I felt D was more thorough.
Gotcha. Okay. Linda, you have anything to add as well?
I think same thing. So login authorization, same. I'll close that out because it's accountability of use of identities, right? So
Mhm.
digital signature can be one, but type 1 is mostly the authentication to give you show your identity.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. Now when I first did this question, like around when I first took the first exam, I believe I chose D as well. But after I continued to study more, the wording on these, I'm not sure if the word accountability threw y'all off. The correct answer on this one is A, logging. So it's asking what's the best way to provide accountability. That's the key word in this question, accountability. Logging is the best answer because that's how they hold individuals or whatever accountable, because they can go back to the logs and find out who did what when and what identity they used, or things of that nature, what time and day and things of that nature. So the way the book explains it, let's see here. Logging systems can provide accountability for identity systems by tracking the actions, changes, and other activities a user or account performs. So could be, like I said, to varying degrees. A couple of these answers could probably be argued as well to some degree, but logging is the best one there. All right, any input on that or further questions on that one? And the thing with this exam, some of these questions, maybe you can kind of analyze. Some as knowledge base is either know it or not. Some of these questions is just boiled down to whether you know it, and you are going to have to use different strategies and techniques. Like Fred mentioned, he used process of elimination. You have to use that a lot because there's no way that any one person knows everything on this exam. You're gonna have to start knocking out answers that you see that really is not once you're sure that that's not the answer, just exit off and try to boil it down to at least two. And kind of use that format. All right, moving on to the next question, also from domain 5. Gonna post this in the chat after I read it. All right, so the question states, Jeff wants to prevent privilege escalation attacks in his organization. Which of the following practices is most likely to prevent horizontal privilege escalation? A, multi-factor authentication. B, limiting permission for groups and accounts. C, disabling unused ports and services. Or D, sanitizing user inputs to applications. All right, 60 seconds on the clock, then we'll discuss.
I'm just going for a thing. It's like,
Okay.
I know, right?
And it will be A. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. But what I like that you did, Linda, at least you chose something.
Right.
That was my mistake on the first exam. I figure I had to not necessarily choose something. I would focus on the one question and just get stuck. But you have to get to a point and try and average yourself at least a minute and 40 seconds per question. And you know, if you don't know it, choose something. At least you're giving yourself a shot, right? All right, so let's see what we got here. Okay, so we got varying answers. Fred, you want to go first and weigh in on why you chose B, limiting permissions for groups? That's the answer that I chose first, by the way. But you want to weigh in on why you chose that?
Yes, sure. The question says preventing privilege escalation attacks. So escalation attacks means the making it so the user cannot, at least the way I interpret it, cannot go higher privileges than what they currently have.
Right.
So that eliminates C for sure. Sanitizing user inputs, that eliminates that one too. And multi-factor, I'm not.
Well, that's good that you boiled it down to at least two. So
Yeah.
at least you have a 50-50 shot at that point, right?
Right.
So, okay. All right. Let's see. Tom, you want to weigh in on choosing C, disabling unused ports and services?
Yeah, I was reading and I was like, is it like privilege escalation attack or is it privilege identity management? And if it's the last one, then I would choose an A. I think. I'm not sure why. but it has an escalation. So someone of something is on a system,
Mhm.
and it says in the next sentence an horizontal escalation. So it wants to escalate to a server left or right from the current system, and to prevent hopping to a system left or right from me, I chose
Right.
to disable all those ports on those other two systems.
Ah, okay, okay. I see your, yeah, I see your train of thought there. Okay. All right. Linda, you want to weigh in on why you
I
chose?
think I will go with what Fred said too, right? So I know I'm just picking the keyword prevent. That's what I was saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think that I didn't, when I'm thinking about the privilege, I just take the keyword prevent and likely. So
Okay.
high level, I might say if we limit the permissions to the group, it's more
They
you
won't
know,
get the extra privileges. Is that what you think?
right. But if we sanitize the users, we look at what they have, right?
Mm,
On the application, what they do, we'll be able to give them the right, you know,
okay.
escalation, whatever it is.
All right.
Hopefully, making sense.
Again, I'm not singling you out. Just Claudia, thanks for joining. So, like I said, I initially when I took this question the first time, I chose B, limiting permission in groups. This question is kind of tricky because, as Tom pointed out, they kind of shift your thinking because on the first sentence it says Jeff wants to prevent privilege escalation attacks in his organization.
Mhm.
So escalation has you thinking vertical up and down. Then they try to pull you in another direction and says, which of the following practices is most likely to prevent horizontal privilege escalation? They do stuff like that to try to throw you off track, right?
Mhm.
The correct answer on this one is A, multi-factor authentication, right? It's multi-factor authentication. And
You got it.
hey, don't beat yourself up. It's going to be a lot of
I
room for that. It's
know.
going to be a lot of, but the explanation they give is multi-factor. First of all, who wants to explain what multi-factor authentication is?
It has three factors of
Three
authentication. You are something, you have something, or you know something.
Yes, yes, yeah. It could be two or more. So, like we all know, sometimes we're logging in, and we get that text on our phone to enter a PIN as well. Right? That's that's one example. So you have two factors of authentication. So their explanation on the answer is multi-factor authentication is most likely to limit horizontal privilege escalation by making it difficult to access user accounts and to authenticate to a compromised account. Then it says of B, limiting permissions for groups and accounts can also help. So it's not that it's wrong. It can also help, but it's not the best answer. But disabling unused ports and services and sanitizing user inputs both address threats that are most frequently associated with vertical privilege escalations attacks. So it's not that any of the ones that you chose were like totally in left field, but they deliberately had you going thinking escalation attacks, thinking vertical. Then they say which of the following practices is most likely to prevent horizontal privilege escalations attacks. So I guess in the explanation they just gave, they're basically saying to prevent someone from using someone else's privileges, we're going to cut it off at the head and use multi-factor authentication so that someone else can't gain access to someone else's account, and in so doing, escalate their privileges. That's the best way I can explain. Does anyone have any input on that or questions?
Yeah, the question, does it make any sense? You can just ask nothing and say, if a company still does not have a multi-factor authentication, they're not doing the right job. So yeah, I don't express myself quite clear, but if they're still using only passwords,
Oh,
then
yeah.
you always have to choose A if it's still okay. So it doesn't matter how they ask the question if it's a company still using only passwords. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, yeah, I see what you're saying. If companies out there just using like a single factor, yeah, that's not a good situation. So yeah, to your point. Sarah Bannon, thanks for joining.
Hi,
All
Paul.
right. So we're going on to the next question. It's going to be from Domain 6. Put on your thinking caps. It's one of the, well, this is knowledge base as well. So it's either you know this or know some of it to kind of get from here. So Domain 6, question coming your way. Stand by. Updated. All right, so the question states, in response to a request for proposal, Susan receives an SSAE 18 SOC report. If she wants a report that includes operating effectiveness detail, and let me rephrase that. If she wants a report that includes operating effectiveness detail, what should Susan ask for as a follow-up and why? A, SOC 2 Type 2 report, because Type 1 does not cover operating effectiveness. B, SOC 1 Type 1 report, because SOC 2 does not cover operating effectiveness. C, SOC 2 Type 1 report, because SOC 2 Type 2 does not cover operating effectiveness. Or D, SOC 3 report, because SOC 1 and SOC 2 reports are outdated. So the question's coming your way. That last word on D is outdated. It just kind of cut it off. So this is a two-part question. It says if she wants a report that includes operating effectiveness detail, what should Susan ask for? What should she ask for? And then it's also asking and why. All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Okay, let's see here. All right, looks like we've got some answers in. Tom, Claudie, and Fred, you all got it correct. Answer is A.
1 out of 3.
So,
Okay.
right. So let me ask a question. Read the SAC, right?
Mhm.
So SAC 2, type 2 report. It means what? Because I know SAC 2 and 1 is more um of like when third parties asking for audit on reporting, right? Is that
Okay.
correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, let's
So
go ahead and pull it up.
mhm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead. I just want to know the differences a little bit.
Mhm. Okay. So let me give the book's explanation, and then we'll go in detail from the OSG.
Okay.
Um, so it says the key to answering the question correctly is understanding the difference between SOC 1 and SOC 2 reports and Type 1 and Type 2 audits. SOC 1 reports cover financial reports, and SOC 2 reports look at security.
Okay.
Type 1 audits only cover a single point in time and are based upon management descriptions of controls. They do not include an assessment of operating effectiveness.
Hmm.
However, Type 2 audits cover a period of time and do include an assessment of operating effectiveness.
Hmm.
This is one of those where you have to know it. It's more knowledge based and know the differences between the SOC 1, 2, and 3, and the
Hmm.
differences between Type 1 and Type 2 and the different combinations thereof.
Okay.
I didn't like this question, to be honest. I hate these two-part questions that they throw into one because they can pull you and push you in a lot of different ways. Um, whether SOC 1 Type 2 or SOC 1 Type 1, SOC 2 Type 2, and a whole different combinations. And then you also have to choose and answer the correct answer why as well in this question. But good job, you guys, on answering. Hey. All right, moving along. There's no further question. We'll jump into the next one. And Tom, I heard you when you said 1 out of 3. Yeah, I wouldn't look at it like that because I know for me, I had to change my outlook because on looking at it like that because it was getting me depressed. So, all right, this one's also from Domain 6. Stand by. All right, during a wireless network penetration test, Helen runs aircrack NG against the network using a password file. What might cause her to what might cause her to fail in her password cracking efforts? A, using WPA2 encryption. B, running WPA2 in enterprise mode. C, using web encryption. Or D, running WPA2 in PSK mode. Question coming your way. Stand by. 60 seconds on the clock. All right, sorry about that. I was trying to get off mute. All right, so we got one person that answered on that. Give it a couple more for a couple more people to answer. All right, so we got a few answers in here. Okay. All right, Tom, you want to weigh in on why you chose D?
I was not sure if it's B or D. I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure that A and C are crackable. And I was like, well, it says pre-shared key, so the key won't hit won't be sent over the air if it's pre-shared and never used again. I'm not sure in enterprise mode. If I go to an enterprise, I always see in the guest room, this is our Wi-Fi password. So that key goes over the air, I guess. But perhaps I'm wrong because it's 2 times B. But that was my.
Okay, got you. But yeah, I like the way you narrowed it down, though, at least to process of elimination with so yeah, that was good. Linda and Fred, you guys want to weigh in on why you chose your answers, or add anything there?
I would say I know with my little network experience, right? I know this
Okay,
can be
that's
technical.
fine. That's
I
fine.
know the WP2 encryption is the best way to go, but if they are running it in enterprise mode, not in regular, you don't really have to run it. Um, I think that's the mistake that she did with the password, running it into that enterprise mode.
Uh-huh.
I don't even know what that means, but the enterprise mode. But um, I
Got
feel you can do the encryption and it's okay. By
it.
doing that, people will not be able to crack the password.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fred, you want to weigh in, or you just
I wasn't sure on this one. I just took a guess on B because it said enterprise mode. I wasn't sure what features it had to protect it since it was enterprise, but yeah, that was my best guess on that one.
Gotcha. Nick, thanks for joining. Well, see, that's why it's good sometimes to just choose. B is the correct answer, right? Running WPA2 in enterprise mode. So A, B, and C has WPA2 in it, right? But Tom, I think it was you that said you narrowed it down to B and D, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe you said that. So I liked your process of elimination on that. It just came down to knowing the difference between enterprise and PSK mode, pre-shared key mode. So the book explains it as enterprise mode, it uses radius, whereas PSK doesn't use radius. So it says WPA2 enterprise uses radius authentication for users rather than a pre-shared key.
Yeah, I'm reading it also, and it says that the preset key is one key everybody uses,
Right.
and radius everybody has a password. So, in my opinion, if you go a dictionary attack, you got a lot of more choices if it's more different passwords.
Yes. Yes. I think that's the way that they're trying to explain it here, is that pre-shared key versus radius, another layer that you have to go through for authentication. It says this means a password attack is more likely to fail, as password attempts for a given user may result in account lockout. using the radius enterprise method.
Yeah, that's true.
Then it further goes on to say WPA2 encryption will not stop a password attack because it's not running in enterprise mode. And WPA2's pre-shared key mode is specifically targeted. Okay, so here's more of a clearer reason why. It says WPA2's pre-shared key mode is specifically targeted by password attacks that attempt to find the key. So, and of course, well, let me ask it this way: which one of the answers between A, B, C, and D would you guys immediately, using process of elimination, X off first?
The web. See.
There you go. Yep, C. C should be out of there immediately. That's, yeah, that thing's been cracked every which way but loose. So, so now you're down to 3. And even if you don't know much about this, I would next X off A, because A is the basic WPA2 encryption. At least that would be my train of thought. And then I'll leave it down to B and D. So, all right. Any more questions or input on that question? All right. Next question is also from domain 6. Coming your way. Stand by. Information and see. Okay, so this one's a little bit long. I'm gonna have to, well, it's not long, but it truncated it, so I'm gonna have to post it in 2 parts. Information. All right. All right, so the question is, a 0-day vulnerability is announced for the popular Apache web server in the middle of the workday. In Jacob's role as an information security analyst, he needs to quickly scan his network to determine what servers are vulnerable to the issue. What is Jacob's best route to quickly identify vulnerable systems? A, immediately run Nessus against all the servers to identify which systems are vulnerable. B, review the CVE database to find the vulnerability information and patch information. C, create a custom IDS or IPS signature. D, identify affected versions and check systems for that version number using an automated scan. All right, question coming your way in 2 parts. Comes the second part with the answers. All right, 60 seconds on the clock. All right. Looks like we've got the same group of folks answering. Okay. Got some more answers in now. Okay. All right. I like this question. And you will see something like this on the exam. I've had it on all three of the exams as far as, but they word it differently in different cases. So, so let's get some new people to weigh in here. Claudia, you want to weigh in on why you chose B?
I think I'm using my mobile phone today. I'm walking my dog. No worries. I just wanted something quick and easy, and hopefully my database is up to date. So I wanted something quick and easy, and this is why I chose it.
Gotcha. Okay. At least you chose something. Some people don't, answer the question. Okay, so let's see who else we got here. Fred, you want to weigh in on why you chose A?
Sure. Because you can, when you run Nessus, it's going to give you the CVE information. It's going to give you a list of what's out there, what's in your system already, what vulnerabilities you got out there.
Okay.
So you can eliminate B on that one. And
Right, correct.
create a custom ID as signature. No, I wouldn't do that. That would take too long on that one, it seems like. De-identify affected versions and systems. Well, you could do, I would do A first and then do D. So I still go back to A.
Gotcha. I like that. Yeah, I like that logic that you got there. And that's a sound logic on that one. Tom, you want to weigh in? Or was your answer up here? Yeah. Why you chose D?
Yeah, I was like, it should be zero vulnerability, so there will be no signatures for Nessus available at that point. So
Right.
A is ruled out for me. B, I'm not sure if the CVE already is filled with the 0 day. I guess not. I just assumed it isn't, just like A. Make it yourself. Then you will help the whole world that you create the signature, but it will take time and it could be a nasty vulnerability. So if you got an asset management system, you can check your versions in the system and check if your Apache servers are on the affected versions list from this vulnerability. So that would be the fastest way to do something, I guess.
Gotcha. Okay. And Linda, did you want to weigh in or no on this one? Okay. All right. So good input there, guys. You weren't Tom and Fred, you both had good inputs. The correct answer on this one. Let's see what number question is this. 0 day. All right. So the correct answer on this one is D. Identify affected versions and check systems for that version number using an automated scanner. And the explanation that they gave, well, first of all, Fred, you were on the right track when you mentioned, as far as process of elimination, but one of the key words in here is 0 day vulnerability, amongst others. The 0 day vulnerability, as Tom mentioned, the CV would not have been updated as yet, most likely. The answer explanation given in the book, it says, in many cases, when an exploit is initially reported, which is a 0-day. There are no pre-built signatures or detections for vulnerability scanners, and the CVE database may not immediately have information about the attack. Jacob's best option is to quickly gather information and review potentially vulnerable servers based on their current configuration. As more information becomes available, signatures and CVE information are likely to be published. Unfortunately for Jacob, IDS and IPS signatures will only detect attacks and won't detect whether systems are vulnerable unless he sees the systems being exploited. I like this question because it got you to thinking a little bit. But I think that keyword in there is 0-day vulnerability. And then they threw all this other stuff in there with different options on how you can or which one would you do. And it came down to D. All right. Does anyone have any further questions or input on this one? Okay. All right, moving on to the next one here. We're going into domain 7. Let's see. All right, stand by for the question. All right, from domain 7, Ricky is seeking a list of information security vulnerabilities and applications, devices, and operating systems. Which one of the following threat intelligence sources would be most useful to him? A, OWASP, B, BugTrack, C, Microsoft Security Bulletins, or D, CVE. Coming your way, 60 seconds on the clock. No, yeah, Tom, it's one answer. If there's going to be multiple answers, it'll say select all that apply or something like that. But yeah, some of these words can throw you off. Let's see here. All right, so give it a couple. All right. All right. Tom and Fred, you got it correct. It is D. Matter of fact, we touched on CVE on the previous question.
Yeah, it was almost the same.
Yeah. So it's this one is a little bit more straightforward. All that extra stuff in there, you got to kind of read past that sometimes.
Yeah, it would be more difficult if they would say only operating systems, for example. Then I'm not sure if Microsoft has something and what it's called like. So, but they say everything, and then it's just like the CVE database.
Yeah. And who knows what CVE stands for?
Why hard?
He's drawing a blank. Anybody else can weigh in?
vulnerability exposure, and the C is from classification.
Common vulnerability. I'm drawing a blank now on the E. Is it enumeration? Common vulnerability.
Is
Let's
it
see
environment? I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, exposure. So the explanation for, of course, this is a knowledge-based question again. This common vulnerability and exposures dictionary contains standardized information on many different security issues. Now, let me also ask, which ones would you guys eliminate right off the bat as far as the answers, process of elimination?
OWASP, but it's only for web servers.
There
So it
you go.
doesn't say something from web servers.
Right.
And the other two, I'm not sure, BugTrack and Microsoft, if they really exist or not.
I don't know what BugTrack is. I would have got rid of that as well. It just doesn't sound, I've never heard of it. But you know, some of these things, they put in some weird stuff in there sometimes that do exist.
Yeah. You just don't know everything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would boil it down to C and D.
Patch Tuesday, yeah.
But actually, with OWASP, when I think about, I would take that off. But as I read the question again, I'm like, okay, Ricky is seeking a list of information security vulnerabilities. OWASP is the Open Web Application Security Project. Because the web applications can fall under applications, but devices, no. Ricky is seeking information security vulnerability applications. So yeah, okay, makes sense. All right, move on to the next one. This is also from domain 7. Yeah, Tom, it looks like you're on a roll there, man. See, you were beating yourself up there in the beginning.
Yeah. If you know too much technical details, but not too technical, you get in trouble.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's better like that's like enterprise mode, for example. Yeah, I'm going crazy, like pre-shared key and technical, but not the great details. Then it's better to know nothing and then just go for enterprise because it sounds great. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Domain 7. Okay. The question states, Glenda would like to conduct a disaster recovery test and is seeking a test that will allow a review of the plan with no disruption to normal information system activities and as minimal a commitment of time as possible. Well, that's a mouthful. What type of test should she choose? They purposefully do this. They will, do a bunch of word wrangling to misguide you. But okay, so the answers here are A, tabletop exercise. Well, Tom, you should know this. You said
It's tabletop. I already said it.
B, parallel test. C, full interrupt test. Or D, checklist review coming your way. Stand by.
Or maybe it can be D.
60 seconds on the clock.
Die laatste. Ja.
Read the question fully.
I'm sorry, Paul. Can I switch from my mobile back to my desktop? Can you repeat the question?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm gonna post. if I post it again in there, will you be able to get it?
Yes.
All right, stand by. All right, there it is. All right. Give it a little more time for, okay, Claudia submitted her answer as well. Linda, are you still with us, or you? I noticed you haven't answered on the past few of them, or are you just listening in?
No, I was listening in. Sorry, somebody pinned me. That's why. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Just wanna make-
No. I'm in.
Okay. All right, good deal. We got some answers in. All right, we got okay, so we got a mixture of answers. Fred, you want to weigh in on why you chose B? Parallel test.
Oh my test. Parallel seem most likely. Interruption test on full interruption test. I don't think you'd want that because then that would disrupt their business. Checklist review. Yeah, B sounded most likely for it to me.
Okay. All right, let's see who else answered here. Excuse me, Tom. You want to weigh in on choosing
Yeah,
B?
when you start reading the question, I was like, oh, it should be tabletop. But then you can continue reading and it says minimal of commitment. Well, if everybody's really busy, then I thought the checklist review was the most minimalistic or the less impact.
Mhm.
And with tabletop, you get discussion and you have to review. So I would go with checklist review. And the B and C are both ruled out because you need hardware for it. So you run physically, you will use physically some devices. So that's much more time consuming.
Gotcha. And Claudia and Linda, you guys want to weigh in or no on this one?
I bet with a tabletop, you can get it done in 90 minutes or so. I mean, if everybody's focused and you've got, a sample of people, so you can get a tabletop done in 90 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the size of the business, of course. So.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. So I'll read through the question again. All good inputs, but we have to try and filter down this question and make sure it's covering everything in the question. So it says, Glenda would like to conduct a disaster recovery test and is seeking a test that will allow a review of the plan. That's number one. So she wants one that will allow a review of the plan with no disruption to activities. Full interruption and parallel, I believe, does have an interruption. Off the top of my head, I'm guessing there. But also another qualifier is she also wants it to be as minimal a commitment of time as possible. So two things: seeking a test that will allow a review of the plan with no disruption to normal activities and minimal commitment of time as possible. Of course, full interruption in parallel takes more time than the others. So basically, I would boil it down to A and D, and then I would ask the question: which one has as minimal a commitment of time as possible? And I think Tom, you touched on that. Between tabletop and checklist, I think checklist is the least time checklist review. And another key word that jumps out there, it's in the answer and it's in the question. It says will allow a review, and checklist review has the word review in it. It's the minimal time. Sometimes you got to kind of walk through it like that. You don't have a lot of time on the exam, I know, but
I missed the word review in the question.
yeah,
But if I saw this word, it will make me more sure that it would be D. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, that's why I said you guys try to do practice questions and try to get the full gist of the question within a minute and 40 seconds if you can, because some of these questions require you to kind of analyze and dig deeper. And I got caught up like that on the first exam and lost a lot of time. By the time I looked up, I wasn't even halfway done with the exam. So practice, practice, practice. So the correct answer is D, checklist review. We're going to go ahead and jump into the other question here. If there are no more inputs on that, let's see. All right, jumping into domain 8. All right, question states, Victor recently took a new position at an online dating website. Go figure. And is responsible for leading a team of developers. He realized quickly that the developers are having issues with production code because they're working on different projects that result in conflicting modifications to the production code. What process should Victor invest in improving? A, request control, B, release control, C, change control, or D, configuration control. Question coming your way. Sorry. 60 seconds on the clock. All right, looks like we got a few answers in. Let's see here. All right, so I think this is a knowledge-based question. It's either you know it or you don't, but does anyone want to weigh in on why they chose C?
I can say something. So I'm going off the last one, right? So
Mhm.
if he joined the team and there's an issue with the code, before he can even do anything, he needs to raise a change control. That's all. And I can say
Okay.
before he can work on fixing the code in production.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. All right. So you are correct. You guys are correct. Correct answer is C. This could be misleading though, because I was kind of also leaning towards release control. So let me read the question again. See, Victor recently took a new position at an online dating website, blah, 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 responsible for leading team of developers. Okay. Realizes quickly that the developers are having issues with production code because they're working on different projects. So that's the key right there. You have different developers working on different pieces of the code, and it's conflicting with the resultant production code. I've witnessed this. I'm not a coder, but I've worked with coders and automation and things of that nature, and developing tools, script tools and things like that. And we would get into it'd be a mixed bag of stuff sometimes, because you have one developer over here working on one part of the code, another one over here making another update on another part of the code. Sometimes you had two people doing updates on the same part of the code. You know, and then if there was a bug in the code, we would release it in production after testing it, of course. But then not knowing that someone else was making an update as well, which had a bug in it, and the one that was released, that part wasn't tested. So it basically came down to the left hand not keeping up to date on what the right hand was doing. And there was a constant loop of, well, no, I made that change and blah, blah, blah. Some people weren't keeping track of the version control, number one, and, you know, making their updates when they made updates to the code, which kind of caused a lot of conflict. So I think that's what they're asking here. And I think change control helps with that. But I think why change control stands out in this question is because it's talking about the modification of and updates to the code at that level, but not necessarily releasing it into production as yet. So the book's answer states, the change control process is responsible for providing an organized framework within which multiple developers can create and test a solution prior to rolling it out in a production environment. Request control provides a framework for user requests. So that's out of the question. Release control manages the deployment of code into production. Configuration control ensures that changes to software versions are made in accordance with the change and configuration management policies. Does anyone have input on that and wants to weigh in on that? Or from experience, something that they've experienced with this? All righty. I think we're at the top of the hour, guys. Go ahead and shut it down. This might be the last class for the year. If not, it might be one more. But yeah, if I don't see you guys for the rest of the year, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. And we'll start this again at the beginning of the year. And good luck in your endeavors and your studies.
Thank you.
Thanks a bunch. Thanks a bunch, and Merry Christmas also. Thanks.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
No.
Hi, Tom. Are you from the Netherlands?
Yes, I am.
Are you calling from the Netherlands, or are you here in the States?
Now I'm calling from the Netherlands, but my main computer failed, so I dropped out. So this is my second.
Ah,
But it's finished already?
Yes, we did. We were only 90 minutes. I used to work for ABN AMRO. That's where I
Okay.
began my career. So I have a lot of friends still there in the Netherlands. I miss them so much. So I heard your voice, and it reminded me of my friends. So I was like, oh,
Yes. Yeah.
reminded me of home, of my home friends. So very nice to meet you, and
Yeah.
happy holidays.
Yeah. Happy holidays yourself. And you're also trying to get the CISSP exam somewhere?
Yes, I am. I am.
Okay.
Go
Great.
back into baking somewhere. So
Okay.
I will do that. Well, best of luck to you. And
Yeah. Maybe see you next time.
okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.